What is going on YouTube? It is the Talk Boys. We are back with another review for you.
I love
How we
that.
doing, Dale?
I'm doing good, man. The taught boys. Yeah. The people have tried to be teaching us for years and years and years about what good wrestling is, but I guess we'll never be taught that. Instead, we are the taught boys. Very good. Thank you, Andy. I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Birthday was yesterday. Had a nice little cake, got a few little presents, got a lot of loving from a lot of people. So that's all I could really ask for. Especially when you're 37 years old. You got nothing to do, got nowhere to go. We're going to do a little celebrating today. No salsa dancing for me, but might have a few drinks. How you doing today, Andy?
All good, mate. All good. Obviously, we're on a new platform. We hope you like our melons. Uh,
Yeah.
but we thought we'd give it a go. Yeah. Got a lot of little stuff like that in the background, haven't we?
Yeah, we're not going to over abuse it, but we're definitely going to throw it in when necessary. So,
Yeah.
but the good thing is that we're going to be doing that a lot today, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we are, and this will probably be a short podcast, to be honest, because it was a short event that we reviewed this week. But what an event! What an event! Do you know, when I was sitting there watching it, I was thinking you would never get this nowadays with that kind of um, thing that they've got there.
They wouldn't even be able to do anything under 2 hours now.
No.
And it was just amazing to see how you have four matches on the total card, one including on the free for all, which kind of led people to buy the pay per view. But I'm not going to really go into that. But what we're going to talk about is how it is Canadian Stampede 1997. This was a miracle. Okay.
Hmm.
And what I mean by miracle is that you don't really see anything as far as themed pay-per-views around a entire city anymore. I mean, you could have the backdrop and everything, but when you had Saudi Arabia and all that, that was kind of a big thing because how often did that happen? It never really did.
No.
WWE always went to Canada, and in this case, they went to Calgary, and they visited the lineage of the Harts. Is that correct, Andy?
They really did. And do you know what I was thinking about this one as well, straight off the bat, is I don't think I've ever seen them, and they certainly haven't done this with any UK guys, where they've been a heel in America, but then they come home to such a hero's welcome as they did here. I don't think that's been seen since.
Maybe if you want to talk about when La Resistance won the tag titles against Chris Benoit and I believe Edge at the time
Hmm.
on Raw, and they celebrated in the crowd, which is really funny because it was in Montreal, so that kind of makes sense. I
Yeah,
believe it was
yeah.
Canada, but they call this Bizarro World for a reason. We had the Montreal Screwjob where all the baby faces were heels at that point, and all the heels from Canada were baby faces to that pay per view. We're going to see that sprinkled in here. July 6th, 1997. Okay. This is the 16th edition of In Your House. Take it away, Andy. What do we start off with here?
So we actually started off with a really good match where Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Mankind, and we see in China coming in for the first time here. She's been around a little bit of time by this point, but she was only just starting out. But just even from the start with this one, it was a really good match, wasn't it?
Loved it. I loved it. Before they started off, they actually show JR, Vince McMahon, and Jerry the King Lawler all wearing Stetsons. And I wanted to actually ask this first to you. Did you ever think of any part of Canada being a redneck province?
No, no, no. When they were saying it was the Canadian Stampedes and I seen them all with cowboy hats on, me being a Brit was just sitting there scratching my head, going, "What on earth is going on? What is life?"
You're waiting. What is life? You're waiting for hockey sticks to come out of the antlers of bison. Am I right?
What's
Yeah.
all this about?
I'm glad to see that you have your South Park references in check there too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, going back to that match, I believe this was like the second main encounter we'd really ever see them do.
Hmm.
Month prior, they were on King of the Ring finals, which actually would have been really funny to just see a King Mankind taking a throne and having a crown and having a robe walking around. It would kind of actually remind me. It would actually be like Jim Duggan and Harley Race esque, So it could have been cool, but they did the right thing here. And I think that with the chemistry that Triple H and Mankind knew that they had right off the bat, they said, let's fucking go. And that's what they did here. Andy, it was a brawl. It was two guys that were just parallel, but at the same time so different. And that's what makes wrestling wrestling. And that's what makes wrestling great. We talked about, we didn't really touch up on it actually. A&E's been having the WWF rivals or WWE rivals, but they had Rock and Austin. Same thing there. You had parallels, two completely different characters or wrestlers, and it just worked out so well. The chemistry that Triple H and Mankind have, we'd probably see for the next 10 years, I'd say. Maybe 6, give or take. But we even just did how Kevin Nash and Triple H fought each other in a Hell in a Cell, and the guest referee at that point was Mick Foley. So it all kind of works out really well there.
Yeah.
But this was just awesome. The pre-match promo that they had, too, and the pre-match taping that kind of wrapped up everything and why these guys were feuding was just amazing and unique. And it stands the test of time to this day. They showed China on the mic saying Mick Foley should kiss her ass. And the first thing I thought of was that when she said this, right, it almost makes Wardlow look like he has the charisma of the Mountie. She should have never been on the mic.
That's it. Oh no, she should never be near any microphone. But you know, even here in the early days, she still looked menacing, and I think that kind of bodyguard thing, it hadn't been done before. You know, we'd only ever been used to seeing the likes of Sonny, Sable, people like that. You know, Melina. Oh, Marlena, sorry. We'd only ever seen people like that. So China coming in was just something completely different than we'd ever seen. You know, historically, if we go back, we've seen Miss Elizabeth, people like that. We'd never seen anything like China. And it was just a totally different dynamic, wasn't it?
Yeah, correct. I fully agree with that. And I think it also has to do with the fact that she wanted to be somewhat of a star. You saw her old wrestling footage when they did that Vice documentary. I think, if anything, it was kind of a spin on the bodyguards that Prince had or Muammar Gaddafi, have you? And that I'm just thinking about that now. It's just like, wow, that's never been really done. And then ECW did it with Nicole Bass after Nicole Bass did a stint here. So wasn't she Sable's like bodyguard?
She was, yeah. She was for a little bit, but as I say, China was the original, and you can't take that away from her, mate. She was the original, and she did, when she was with DX, she done a really good part.
Yeah. What did you think of the ending here, though? I mean, you have
I liked it.
Count.
I liked it, and the reason I liked it is because Triple H is obviously transitioning into this edgier character. He hasn't really got there with it yet, but he is coming into that kind of thing. And the other thing that I really liked here was the fact that, you know, Mankind's a crazy guy. So kind of seeing him go on this is what you'd expect from his character.
Fully agree. I talked about a few months ago how Kane should have never been established as more of a humanistic character, right? Mm-hmm. And I believe Mankind was also a guy that wore a mask, but you heard from him, and you knew he was a little crazy. I mean, you could just look at Kane and be like, hey, this guy's got a couple of screws loose. But when you're looking at Mankind and the character of Mankind and how he was then becoming human, the crowd kind of took to that, and the crowd kind of enjoyed that. So I did enjoy that aspect to it. One of the things I liked here is during the match, there was a scoop pile driver that Mick used to do, and Jerry Lawler was putting it over really well. And you didn't really see that too much because Jerry Lawler was still the heel commentator, and he put over the fact that, like, look at what Mick could do, because I think they all I think they were all bros back then, a lot of them. Yeah. And I do like the fact that they did a double count out. If you're going to do a disqualification, this was the perfect area for it. I love the fact that they went to the penalty box and Mick threw Triple H into the penalty box. That got a good pop and actually made me laugh because it looked like a hip toss that Triple H was like, I'm going to go in there. Like, these guys just knew how to work with each other. It was awesome.
Yeah, they really did. And it was, you're 100% right. It was awesome. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the match. I really enjoyed everything that went on with this. And, you know, no complaints from me whatsoever. I also like the fact that at different points during the night, we kept on seeing them pop up and kind of come across and stuff. It was really good.
Yeah. I think that they're trying to revisit that with the 24/7 title a little bit now, which
Mm.
is okay. I think when Drake Maverick had it a few
Oh,
years ago,
brilliant.
that was so funny. Like everything going on was just hilarious with that, where he was in a hotel room and he had pride. He just got married, and there's
Yeah,
I think and she wants to like have sex, and he's just posing with the 24/7 title. But
yeah,
our truth is back there. It's the same concept here. Those hardcore titles and even schmazes like this that were just blood feuds because Triple H ended up being busted open in the back outside. Um, and I know for a fact that you were probably thinking it was still cold there. Yes, it was
hmm
July, but this is Canada, and there's a stampede, so it wasn't always cold there.
no,
Uh, just awesome stuff. But we go into something really head scratching because I don't know how to describe the next match or where it came from. Great
mm.
Suzuki versus Taka Michinoku. I loved it.
Yeah, it was a really great match, and you could see Vince was so much like pushing it that he wanted to see
Was he?
everything. He
Was
was,
he?
yeah,
Okay. Now, I will pinpoint one line that he said during the opening of this match, and it just is Vince in a nutshell. He goes, "This is a phenomenal superstar when Great Suzuki comes out." Then follows that with, "Or so I'm told."
yeah. It's actually
That
you've got a point there, pal.
that is Vince in a nutshell, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Doesn't take away how freaking awesome this was, man. This was
No,
a
it was. It
fun
was
match.
brilliant. It was brilliant. It really was, and I enjoyed it no end. I did. I thought that kind of style, especially from Suzuki with the kicks and stuff like that, you could tell Michinoku was the young guy, but even so, he still played his part in the match. Really, really
Mention
solid match. Yeah.
he looked strong in it too. You know, if you're gonna, he, I like the fact that he took a loss here,
Mm.
because it still isn't taking an L. I mean, you're
No.
facing the great Suzuki. It's a great way to, and just the fact that they were flying high and still being safe. You had the Michinoku driver that Suzuki kicked out of, which Michinoku was still a youngster at that time, still establishing credibility in the
hmm
Federation, and he's just dumbfounded because, oh my God, I should have put away this legend, and he didn't. And then it was a nice little way when you have a tiger suplex for a win. I always think it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like just hooking the arms and then hooking them back, shoulders back. Just it looks great. It's a great spot.
Mm.
There's more to it though because you didn't really see too many dives then. You know,
No,
I don't.
no, you didn't, did you? And that's where the thing, I think they come into it quite well and stuff. And obviously, as time went on, we also got given the Michinoku driver and everything else like that. So, which was all kinds of good stuff, you know what I mean, from the Japanese type of thing.
I think it was cool though because Michinoku would always do a little taunt before that, and which was also like my favorite taunt to do in any of the video games where he would just jump up and down and doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't really quite establish that yet, but he still has time, you know.
Mm,
And there was nobody else like him in the Federation, so
no.
I'm not gonna say he was a feature, but he was a nice add-on to watch if you were to go to a live event or watch Raw. SmackDown wasn't around then, but watching Raw, great match, great
Yeah,
match. I could
yeah,
watch that again and again and again, and I think a lot of people should watch it again and again and again.
yeah. I agree with you. Well, we'll move on now. We've only got 4 matches on this whole card, guys. You know, it's one of them, isn't it? How on earth could we have a WWE with 4 matches on the card and it works? It works. You know what I mean? It just shows you like that you don't always have to have 20 matches on there, Tony Khan. But you know, it's a
And a
good thing.
pre-show.
But yeah,
Although you have a free for all, and the free for all was the Godwins versus the Blackjacks, the new
yeah,
Blackjacks.
yeah.
Um, you know, I'm pretty sure that we've also talked about how JBL has floated around every single pay per view that you and I have done.
He's always there or thereabouts, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah, and this
Uh,
time it was with his mustache too, with that
yeah.
huge burly
Oh,
mustache.
he's a lovely.
Let
What a
me ask
mustache
you,
as well.
who did you now? You take a look at Blackjack Mulligan, Outlaw Ron Bass. Do you not to do you appreciate the stylings of watching a guy? Because we were just going into a Japanese match. Would you think Stan Hansen would translate today?
No,
No.
no,
It's unfortunate.
no. I don't think a lot of the old guys are transitioning into today because I think it's a whole different world. And the athlete, some of them were big, not to be disrespectful to the old school, but they were big guys. They were all about the bit of a brawl and then rest holds and all that. Where these guys today, they're athletes. They're very, very, very good athletes, and it's a totally different world now.
Correct. Training has evolved.
Mm.
Training has evolved in every single sport. I think it also has increased injuries. That's
Mm-hmm.
for damn sure, and I'll talk
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that later on with a match that's relevant.
yeah.
I'm sure you could guess which one,
Mm-hmm.
but we're going right now into a little bit of storytelling here because we do have a great recap again. It just shows how Paul Bear, well, I was going to say Heyman, but no egg on his face too. This guy's told stories as well. Paul Bear ended up talking about how Undertaker murdered his family. You would always hear murderer, murderer throughout the match, and it was probably the funniest thing you could hear. I do think that him managing Vader was just a little. I'm not gonna say it didn't match, but I was more of a fan of more of a loudmouth type of manager to manage Vader.
I think the always problem with Paul Bearer is, apart from Kane, because it was so relevant and so like the Undertaker, I don't think he sat with anyone well.
Yeah, yeah, they did that with Mankind.
Even him, I didn't think it sat well.
I agree, but it did tell a story with the urn
Yeah,
being
yeah,
bashed over the head. I think we talked about that with Mankind and Undertaker a couple months ago when they had a match, and Undertaker lost because Paul Bear accidentally hit him in the head with the urn. This would sequentially lead to how Undertaker would then face Mankind in a Boiler Room Brawl match, which I don't think I've seen it in probably 20 years, so when that time comes around, I think we should rewatch it.
oh, not off.
Vader, just I don't know. I don't understand how they couldn't even give him a title at any point. I think it was definitely had to do with Michaels, without a doubt, at that point. Because Shawn was on the shelf here. But I do think that SummerSlam match from the year prior, Vader just messed up that spot. Shawn just kicked him in the face and called him an idiot. And then after that, it kind of killed any momentum Vader had at that point. So they said, hey, let's catch lightning in a bottle. Let's put him with Paul Bear. Let's have him feud with The Undertaker for the WWF title. Undertaker's reign was really forgotten about at this point. I think he got it off of Sid right at this point, right?
He did, yes, and he wouldn't have for that long. I don't think, me personally, mate, and I don't know what your thoughts on this, but I have written it down here. Undertaker has never looked good with the belt. I've never thought he's needed it as a character.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt, I agree with that. I think I have no problem with him holding the belt in the mid-2000s. I have no quarrels with that whatsoever. Only because it's like one of those, I reached the top of the mountain sort of deals, and you have this journey to climb, and look at the manifestations of my character. I was a dead guy, I was a mortician, then I became a biker, and I became Big Evil.
That's it, isn't it? As the biker version of Undertaker, it never really bothered me, but the whole like Dark Lord Undertaker just never sat with the belt. He just didn't suit it ever.
Okay, but we're also taking into account the fact that he then became heel and mixed in with Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
When we think of, if you gloss over that, if that didn't happen, we'd be a little bit okay with that. I don't have a problem with him being in a faction, but when it just got to that corporate ministry crap, I said...
Yeah, when it was just the ministry, that was fine, wasn't it? And he was fine with him being the leader and the champion and all that because it was relevant. But you're 100% right. Want to become the corporate ministry, it was just like, oh, do one.
Yeah, it got saturated. Like you could try and watch it and try and fathom, like, okay, I can understand how he could be in full control of power, but that's like saying, like, that's like the Jesus and the devil working together, Jesus and Satan working together. Not saying that. So I'm not getting religious here, but it's almost like, okay, did it work when Vince McMahon and Steve Austin became allies?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
I don't
No.
think so. Do you?
No.
So
No, it 100% didn't, mate. It really
no,
didn't.
no, and that's why it's like you shouldn't really mix the boss with that stuff. It worked with
No.
The Rock. The Rock, it worked for.
Different
But
kettle of fish, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and that's why the Undertaker didn't need the strap, and that's why I think the mid 2000s run with him as champion. I'm totally cool with that. To me that works. Also, when he beat Hogan for the title, that worked too.
Yeah, because that was when he was first into his run, wasn't he, and all the rest of it. But as a carrier of the belt and a carrier of being the main event, it's like I just never thought he fitted in there.
It's another thing where it's like he's a feature. You don't really need that.
And the thing is, that's not a knock on him. That's actually a praise to him for the fact of he's one of the very few people in that company that has never needed a belt to be over.
Did you watch the biography on A&E about him?
I haven't, because we don't get it over here, so I haven't watched it yet.
I'm surprised it's not on the network for you guys yet. But you got to see, people are showing off their tattoos of Undertaker. Some kind of look garbage, but some looked incredible. And if I'm gonna get a tattoo of something here, I got Queensryche on my arm. I love the band forever. If you're gonna actually
see, and that's what us proper dads have pictures of kids.
Yeah, but you got like a 10-year head start on me. Yeah, you got like a 10-year head start on me. Look, I think that he's a legacy in itself. I think that guys like Jeff Hardy were a feature too.
Yeah.
I think these are guys that people would go to see.
Even Foley. Foley was another one. You knew what you were going to get out of him.
Actually, no, you didn't know what you were going to get out of him.
Well, that was the whole point. Yeah.
That's why you went to go see him.
I'm going to give you a clap for that.
Thank you. Encore. I do believe that even guys like Orange Cassidy, as much as I don't like it, people go to see him.
Yeah, they have a place.
Yeah, people go to see him, and I can't knock a guy that's making money from that.
No. Well, Undertaker defeats Vader here. Vader comes out. I really like the fact when Vader turns around, he's like, no. Some good work, good facial work by Percy here.
Yeah, and the camera was on him the whole time, and rightfully so. And I think that told a story because he did just say, your brother Kane is still alive. We're going to see him in a couple of months in October. Might have to do that pay-per-view because we're reflecting on not all of 1997, but some key parts, including this. And that's the whole thing. Undertaker's like, you're crazy old man. Look, I'm the champion. Nobody's going to stop me, blah, blah, blah. It's going to work out. Everything will come together. Do you think, and this kind of piggybacks off this, do you think Undertaker would have been stale if they didn't bring in Kane?
Yes. I think it really changed it. It really did change it, and it helped, and it reinvented the Undertaker yet again. But Undertaker's always reinvented himself, so I couldn't hand on heart say it would have. The Undertaker wouldn't have got there because I believe he probably would have.
Look, there's a manifested brothership or brothers that are created. They're not for real. And I think that you also have Brett and Owen that are real brothers that told another story that's very, very similar to that. But this one, it's you have seven deadly sins. You have the murder going on there. You have the greed.
It was perfect, wasn't it? It was perfect.
It worked out well. It was a good match.
The first time it was good with them two, with Kane and the Undertaker, but after that.
Yeah, especially with the 3 tombstones, and then Kane
Vince was like an Amish man with a cow.
If he was Amish, he would have been cheap, and he wouldn't have booked Pete Rose to open that up.
Lol.
Good segue though, man. So this match though was very good for 2 big men. We're finally getting into the Vader match. For 2 big men, this was actually fun to watch. I don't want to hear about how these guys botched. These guys are freaking huge, okay?
Yeah.
So there was a little botch slip, but I'm not going to sit there and say these guys are terrible workers or don't know what they're doing.
No, the choke slam up the top rope. You try taking that at Vader's size and taking it as well as he does.
Oh, yeah, and try getting... Oh, and Undertaker tombstone Vader. I don't want to hear anybody talk about how these guys are unsafe because they fell over. And look, Vader kicked out of whatever that was.
You want to see your own safe? Watch the main event.
Want to see unsafe? Watch Dynamite. Yeah. But anyway, Undertaker goes over here. It wasn't really in question because I think at that point you knew, A, the Calgary crowd really wanted to see Undertaker, and they got that. Loud ovation. And I think, B, you knew that there was something else brewing with this whole Paul Bear storyline. Murderer!
Brilliant. Yeah, but all in all, I really enjoyed the match. I thought it was really good. Vader was a good opponent for Taker at the time. Two big man. I still think I can never make my mind up. Vader or Bam Bam Bigelow was were the two best big guys in the business for me in terms of high flying and athleticism.
Yeah, and it's weird because they kind of like changed positions. So you had Bam Bam in WWF, then he went to WCW, and then you had Vader WCW going to WWF, and then I think to Japan afterwards.
Yeah.
It's almost like it was like a trade-off. There was part of me the other day was sitting there going, I really want to take a look into Bam Bam's WCW run because they gave him a push, if I recall. They threw him in with Goldberg at that point. You know, because
I don't know why he never got a title, but yeah, Bam Bam. Always scratch me head over that one.
You know, if you look at TV shows that would depict wrestlers there, he's everything you wanted. Without the hair,
100%.
He's everything you wanted. He's and by the way, he's probably my favorite Hasbro. The tattoos on, yeah, that's all that matters. Yeah, but I love Bam Bam. We'll revisit him another time.
We'll move on to the main event then because this one's gonna. The pop was just unbelievable, and you know what? I loved Austin. Austin played that crowd, even like Goldust and that. When they come out, they were giving the crowd loads, winding them up, getting it all ready for this. Kind of colder and that was bubbling up, and then when we started getting the foundation out, it just blew off the place. You couldn't even hear the music really.
When our thumbnail is the pre-match interview where it had Ken Shamrock, LOD, Austin, and Goldust there. They didn't even ask Austin to say anything. You still got enough emotion out of Shamrock, who still very new, but you knew not to mess with him. LOD is LOD. They're going to shout when they order their meals at any restaurant. Goldust had a pretty decent pop. And I'm trying to think, not pop, but he had a pretty decent promo there. Because you didn't really get this type of stuff from him. I mean, he did get a little bit maniacal later on down the road. But I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, why is he there? And then I realized the feud that he had with Pillman.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Pillman wore a dress. And then he took Marlena, and Marlena was just looking so skanky and hot at that time. I don't know if you recall. Remember, they showed her for like 2 weeks dressing up like Pillman, all like, slutty looking. And it just looked great, man. Excuse me. Sorry, guys, but it was nice. Okay, if you want, go revisit it. She looked freaking hot. Like you said, the one-by-one introductions on the ramp where you first had Pillman come out. Crowd loves him. You had you had Natty's dad come out. Crowd loved him. Andy didn't like him. Actually, no, Andy, you like him, but you don't...
I don't mind him. I don't mind him because you knew what he was, and that's why I liked him.
Yeah, Davey Boy come out, which was the first time. What's it? Yeah, and Miss Calgary herself.
Yeah, don't know how. It was rigged.
Like I said last week when we did Money in the Bank 2010, I hated the fact that they had Davey Boy Smith Jr. or Harry Smith, right? Harry Smith, who we'll see here later on. Harry Smith comes out, and they can't even say that he's he's British Bulldog's son. It's like, this guy got a huge pop. Why do you have to just forget about him being here?
He carried the UK for years as well.
Come on, right. And had one of the greatest matches in SummerSlam history. So
unless Brett will tell you he was more popular in the UK.
No,
That's another
Hogan will.
story.
Hogan will
Yeah.
say that. Hogan will say that he did a Make-A-Wish Foundation when he wasn't even there.
Yeah. Even though we don't have Make-A-Wish in the UK.
No. You have what? What do you have there? Make tea?
I don't have a clue, to be honest with you.
No, you can't. No, because your health care is so much better than ours. You guys make wishes without
we
even
just
trying.
we just have to deal with a kid.
Oh, that's nice. Hit the bricks.
No, we have like Great Ormond Street and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But
Greg Allman Street.
Great Ormond Street, Ormond Street. Have you seen? Have you ever seen Hook?
Yeah.
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 The hospital and that's a real hospital in the UK.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, where
yeah.
Maggie Smith's sitting there going, "The children, oh, the children." Yeah.
With
She
the
was
orphanage, with the orphanage and all that stuff. It's real.
Yeah,
It's a real
and
place.
and Robin Williams lost that accent in Hook.
Oh God.
Anyway,
I lost my marbles.
Yeah, he found him. Toodles found him.
One thing I wanted to say is with this match, I don't really want to go too much into the action because I felt like the action was just all over the friggin' place. It was so bad. I thought the opening segment between Hart and Austin was perfect.
Yep.
But maybe if you would have kept them two apart from each other and let the crowd build a bit more, you would have got that second.
I'm okay with it. It would have been weird if you just had like Hawk go off against Pillman to start the match. It's very odd to have the big antithesis, the big baddie, going against the big good guy. Remember, this is Brett's first match since arthroscopic surgery on his knee. So he took a 2-month hiatus at this point. And if you're going to do this, you're going to do it there, Andy.
Yeah.
You know, you have your family sitting at ringside. You are the hometown fucking team.
Yeah.
And at that point, you want to hammer down the fact that these two hate each other and they want to go at it. And Austin does exactly that. I love the action in this because there's no stopping. Nobody sits there and nobody puts their hands in their pockets. Nobody,
No,
poses.
they're jumping everywhere, aren't they?
It's
jumping
just
everywhere.
With legal tags.
The only thing that does me head in is whenever, I know with the legal tags, the first part of the match was okay like that, but then after that, whenever the Hearts are in friggin' Calgary or anywhere near Canada, for some reason, Bruce Hart has to pop out the crowd. I hate him. I hate him.
Bruce was the biggest mark for himself.
If
you look at, we might have to do it, but Survivor Series of past, he was the biggest mark for himself. And even when there was that big feud with who's going to take Brett or Owen's side, right? He was the only one cutting a real promo saying how he's with Owen. Everybody's like, "Oh, Owen's just a sore loser," and then all the other ones. Owen just really has to come to terms with the fact that he'll get there. And there's Bruce going, "My brother's a fucking asshole. Brett's a piece of shit. Owen's the fucking man. We have the same hair."
Did you see him on like that though? He got that like they announced Helen and that. And there's Bruce with his glasses on, his leather jacket, he's giving it, way, yeah, this is my moment. I was just like, oh no, go away. Just go away.
And all I hear in the back of my mind is, Jerry Lawler wants to say so much shit right now because of the history. Jerry Lawler said some of the funniest lines against Stu, Helen Hart. There's Helen! Ha ha! Like, that's all he has to say. Talk about how she's almost dead. It's like everybody wants to...
It's not wrong, no, she does look dead, doesn't she?
No, she looked like the Crypt Keeper.
She always looked dead, Helen. As much as...
Christian Cage would cut a nice promo on her now if he didn't know.
Yeah. He cut a promo on anyone.
He would have... who cares? That's how you get heat, my friend. God forbid like we said last week, are people afraid to get heat? Bruce was in every single shot. I love the fact that there was that... The reason being is because there was some sort of partnership between Calgary... Stampede Wrestling and then WWE.
Did you see the part where Bruce goes a bit mad in the melee and Jim the Anvil Neidhart grabs him and spins him round and like kind of shouts something at him I think he was saying to him, like, fucking calm down or get out the way of this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was you could tell he was the failed wrestler in this family.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah. And give Neidhart his due. Neidhart told him straight and was like, "Oh,
was that when Bruce was in the ring trying to
yeah,
head out to go? Yeah, it's just a weird schmoz. This was after the match, by the way. Just to touch on the action inside, like I said, legal tags. These guys were going full force. LOD hit the freaking Doomsday device. Owen does the perfect backflip because Owen Hart is incredible. I'll get the Owen in a second. The action was nonstop here, and it ends up being, Austin gets pinned out of all these people. If you saw the lineup, you'd be like, all right, well, Pillman might get pinned. Neidhart might get pinned on that.
Yeah, Hawk will probably take the pin on that side, or Goldust.
Yeah, but you didn't think Austin would. I think Austin just stopped caring, ended up getting cuffed, doing the middle finger backwards.
Yeah. I love the fact as well is, even though Austin took the pin, I thought straight away, why has he took the pin here? And then when he comes back out with the chair after the fact and starts going at them on his own, and he gets it's like, okay, it doesn't matter because Austin's just Austin and he doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He wants to fight Brett. He jumps back in the ring after the match and goes after, I forgot who he goes after. He might have
Anvil.
Yeah, he goes after Anvil. Everybody, including the Hart family that's sitting outside, and including an angry Bruce, jumps on top of him. Austin's just telling a story of, I hate this family, I hate everybody here. I'm sure.
And I don't care if there's 20 of you, I'll still come at you all.
Yeah, and I'll take everybody, one of you out, and I'll take Bruce out twice. That's how much he hated the family, and he hammered it home here. And it just hammered the fact that you could do so much good stuff in under 2 hours. Now in 48 minutes was this whole freaking show. And about 10 minutes of it was after the match. The whole Hart clan came into the freaking ring, including Stu, including Helen, including Teddy Hart, including Harry Smith, Natalia.
No, she was, of course, she was there.
Yeah, she was there. She was there, including Jenny Neidhart. These people that we see now, it's amazing to me.
Yeah,
Teddy still looked like a freaking prick that could do everything in the world.
You even see Martha there as well, couldn't you, at the time as well, which is like kind of sad because of what happens not long after, but we won't go into that. Go back and watch our review of Over the Edge. We talk about all that type of stuff, guys.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't have to really solidify the meaning of Owen. But there was a picture I sent you, Andy, and I just go, this got me, dude. And it was Owen sitting in the ring, fresh haircut and all, with his son, holding his son up with the Canadian flag. And it's just like, I'll post it on the site, guys. But, man, it just goes to show you how...
Yeah, sad, isn't it? Right, then. So, on this pay-per-view as a whole, Dale, what are we going for, mate?
I'm going for an 8. I'm going with an 8.
I'm agreeing.
Yeah, this is an hour and 48 minutes. Of just pure awesomeness. And as a wrestling fan, I don't understand how people could sit there and be like, I don't have time for it. Look, I don't have time for all these pre-shows. I don't have time to, if somebody, just go to watch it. Of that, I'd like to say, I think now is the first time we should actually talk about somebody going into the TAWT Hall of Fame. Okay. All right. I got one person right here, and we're starting it off, because I think we should probably go with, 3 people and maybe a woman? What do you think?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to start off right here. I'm going with Owen.
Yeah, well, 100%. 100%.
Owen's going to be our first inductee, only for the fact that he's been in most of the pay-per-views that we watch, coincidentally. He's always had either said something really relevant and fantastic or has done fantastic matches. I mean, you and I talked about WrestleMania 10, and he had 2 vital parts in that whole pay-per-view. And even here, just showing him, and just it wasn't really a featured guy during this last match, but he's a feature for us on this show and the pay-per-views that we do. And we did just talk about Over the Edge. I don't want to keep going into it. He's just one of the best people we watch. Even when we did that WrestleMania, he teamed with Neidhart, and they did the rocket launcher against the Orient Express. I mean, the list of matches that we've done with him is just endless. And think we get joy in each one of those, and that's why I think we should pay homage to him. I don't care.
Yeah.
We don't look. We're learning to grow, and we appreciate that. But just to say that we put somebody in our Hall of Fame basket and the first person for us, it's got to be Owen. Andy, thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. He was so good in the ring. I felt he elevated people. He was great on the microphone. For whatever reason, people didn't always say he was, but he was. I thought he was brilliant. And just all round, even when you hear the stories of him, he just sounds like an all-round good guy.
Yeah, just a lovable dude. I'll send a picture up there of him and his son. But
and his Hasbro was crap.
Yeah, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best. That's why you have so many people doing customs, and they have the Black Heart stuff on there. Yeah. Even King of the Ring Owen. We forgot about that. King of the Ring Owen. Yeah, brilliant. But yeah, this is this Canadian Stampede. There's a few great in your house pay-per-views. We've uncovered a few of them. Yeah,
but this is one of them.
This is probably, I'd say, one of the best ones out there.
Oh, one of the top 5, 100%.
Yeah. This actually made a list of top 50 pay-per-views ever created.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this ranks as number 10.
Interesting. Okay.
And this was the number 1 pay-per-view in 1997 as well.
Mm-hmm.
That includes WrestleManias. Look at all the stuff that includes. I mean,
interesting.
Think about that.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's going to be us then, Dale. We're going to wrap it up there, mate. From
your turn.
This week, it's my turn. And
we're in July, but what do you want to do?
Well, it's going to be August. It's going to be August, and I'm going to go for SummerSlam 91.
Wow. Okay.
SummerSlam 91, one of my favorite pay-per-views.
I like it. All right. I think I remember some things, and I'm hoping to really ignite that.
Yeah.
That memory back. So,
well, that was little 6-year-old Dale. That'd be.
That would be yeah. No Zeus.
No Zeus. No.
That was a couple years prior.
I'll give you one match off it: the jail yard match or the jailhouse match.
Okay. Folks, we're in for a good one next week. All right, you guys are gonna enjoy it.
Guys, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it as always. We always enjoy everybody, and we're loving some of the stuff that you're writing to us on social media and stuff at the moment over with WrestleBuddy and with ourselves as well. So make sure you keep the like button, subscribe. We did get an influx of 10 subscribers last week, which was awesome for 1 week. So thank you to you guys who have come in and joined the channel. But from me and Dale, until next time, take it easy, and we'll see you again next week.
You're welcome.